Hey guys, welcome back. So you want to go drag racing. If you're like me, this is something that's been in the back of my mind for the last couple of years now. I've wanted to take this car out to our local track and make some passes with it. And it's not because I think this is a super fast car, because I know it's not. It's just about having more fun with the car. So anyway, the last time I made a pass at our local track here, it was like 26 years ago. And at that time, it was under NHRA rules and regulations, and today it's under IHRA rules and regulations. So the track's changed, the rules have changed, and certainly the cars have changed in the last 26 years. So I thought I'd better look up the rules and regulations pertaining to the street legal class at SIR, that's Saskatchewan International Raceway, and just get a feel for what, if any, modifications I have to make to this car in order to make clean passes on it and legal passes on it at the track and not have any trouble in the tech area. Anyway, so when you first arrive at the track, you're going to be expected to sign a waiver. You pay your fee, you sign a waiver, and this absolves them from any legal claims. If something happens to you at the track or your car, the track is not responsible in any way. So you got to sign a waiver, and keep in mind, if you have regular insurance on your car or even some of the specialized insurances, they're not going to cover you for anything that happens at the track. So if you crash your car there, or somebody else loses control of their car and crashes into you, you're on your own. So you're out of luck. You gotta, that's something you need to be aware of anytime you run your car at a track, any type of a track. Basic insurance doesn't cover you at all, so keep that in mind. Now, you've signed your waiver, you're making your way over to the tech area. Now there's a list of things that you need to know. Certainly if you're driving a bone stock, all original car, there's probably nothing you have to be concerned about. The bone stock, original, unmolested, unmodified cars are going to pass tech with flying colors. However, if you've got something like this, a classic vehicle that's had some slight modifications over the years, there's a list of things that you need to follow and things that you want to know. So I looked this up online and I learned some stuff, and I thought I'd share it with you. Anyway, the very first thing is on the list is tires. They allow you 1/16 of an inch in your tread on tires. So keep in mind, when you measure your tires, guys, you have to measure right across the face of the tread. You can't just measure the thing right in the middle and expect that to be all good. You take a gauge like I have here. This is a little tire gauge. Now 1/16 of an inch is like 2/32. That's not a lot. Personally, I wouldn't drive across the city with 2/32 of tread. So 1/16 is what's allowable, and that's right across the face of the tread on all four tires. So measure your tires. Now with wheels, that's something that has changed in the last few years. Under the NHRA rules, it was required to have open wheel studs in the street machine class, open-ended wheel studs, and if you had a 7/16 stud, it had to protrude into the hex portion of the nut 7/16 of an inch. Now, according to the IHRA rules, this is not a concern anymore. You can run a wheel nut like this as long as they're all in place. You're not missing any studs, not missing any nuts. You're good to go. So that's a rule that has changed in the last 26 years, and I thought I'd share that with you. The other thing was windshield. So your windshield must be free of cracks and damage. They don't want to see any cracks in your windshield. And also, one thing that I see with a lot of rookies at the track, make sure you roll up your window, guys. That's really important. They don't want you making any passes with the windows down. They got to be all up and ready to go. What else do we got here? Drive shaft loops. Now this is something that I'm going to have to get some clarification on. It says that basically if you run a slick on your car and you're running quicker than 1399, you're required to have a drive shaft loop. However, if you're running a street tire and you're running 1149 or quicker or slower, you also are required to have a drive shaft loop. So this almost covers everybody. I'm going to have to get clarification on that rule to make sure that I don't have to install a drive shaft loop in this car. And if I do, it's no big deal. That's a small thing. Lines and hoses, all brake lines, fuel lines, power steering lines, transmission lines, they all have to be all free of any leaks. You don't want anything leaking on the track. And they also only permit 12 inches of rubber hose on the car from end to end. So any steel line on the car is fine to have. This is braided AN line here to my fuel line. Typically you'll see a lot of guys run a rubber hose here. That's not allowable unless it's under 12 inches. You're allowed 12 inches in total from end to end on the car, and that's only for connection purposes. So that's one thing you want to make sure you got the right hose on there. There's all kinds of different braided hoses you can get, but basic rubber fuel line's not allowed. What else we got? Oh, while we're talking about lines, a lot of your oil pressure gauges will come out of the box with this type of a nylon line. This is not allowed, so you'll want to trash that and make sure that at minimum you have something like this copper deal here. This is what I have on my car. Braided steel lines also allowable, and that's of course if your oil pressure line is fed into the passenger compartment, so they don't want to see that plastic stuff on there. What else we got? Radiators. So all radiators are required to have a minimum of 1 pint of a catch can. 1 pint or 1 liter, you're required to have some kind of overflow catch on all your radiators. So that's we can check that one off the list. What else do we have? Master cutoff switches. So if my battery's in the factory location with the factory hold down, if you relocate your battery to the trunk, you're required to have a switch on the back of the car. And keep in mind, if you guys do relocate the batteries, that switch on the back actually has to turn off all the electrical system in the car. So if your car's running, they got to be able to hit that switch and it kills everything and it shuts the car off. So that's something to keep in mind. And also with trunk mounted batteries, they got to be in a sealed case, and they have to have hold downs with all 3/8 hardware, 3/8 strapping, 3/8 ready rod, whatever you use. It has to be quite beefy in the back there. So that's something to know with relocated batteries. Now the driver, obviously a driver has to have a valid driver's license, and if you're under the age of 18, you have to get a waiver signed by a parent or guardian, just to say that you're allowed, you know, to do this, to take part in this sort of thing. So you have to have, if you're under 18, you got to get a signed waiver from a parent. Clothing, so they want you to wear full-length pants, shirts, you know, no bare torsos, no shorts, no sandals, that sort of thing. Common sense plays in this one, guys. You know, full-toed shoes, pants, and of course if you're running anything quicker than 1149, you have to have a jacket, a fire jacket, SFI approved spec jacket. Helmets, so now everybody running 1399 or quicker needs to have a helmet, and now they require a Schnell 2010 rating. The basic motorcycle helmets like this one here, or snowmobile helmets with the DOT rating, this does not suffice. You need a Schnell rating of 2010 or better. So keep that in mind. You got to have a helmet. I'm going to have to get myself a proper helmet for this thing. What else we got? So seat belts. Well, in the street class, you're required to have an OE style lap belt like we have here in the Chevelle, so we can check that one off the list. Of course, if you're running something quicker, you're going to need harnesses, but most cars running in the street legal class aren't running, you know, 1149 or quicker. So neutral safety switches. So any automatic transmission has to have a neutral safety switch. You shouldn't be able to start that car in any gear. And also with manual transmission cars, you're required to have, you know, the OE style clutch switch. So the car cannot start unless the clutch is depressed all the way. What else we got? That's basically, you know, that sums up the rules, guys. Keep in mind, if you do make a pass at the track, that the left lane at SIR has the right of way, so they get to exit first. There's some basic stuff to know, And yeah, I just wanted to go over this. I got to clarify one rule there with the safety loop, but I think for the most part the car is going to be okay to fly. I'm not going to promise anybody that I'm going to have this out at the track this summer. It's been something I wanted to do for a while. Certainly I'm not going to do it with that Cooper Cobra tire on there. I'm going to have to get a set of drag radials at the very least, and a helmet for sure. Certainly if I do make any passes at the track, I'll have my camera gear with you. I'll share the whole experience and you guys will get to see it too. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching. Just thought I'd share that with you. It was some neat things that I learned in regards to rules and regulations with running your car out at our local track. Again, this is with a SIR, Saskatchewan International Raceway. All the street legal stuff you need to know if you want to run your classic car out there. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll see you again.